This is the Sega Master System. It was released back in 1986 and was Sega's answer to Nintendo's 8-bit console. While it was clobbered at retail with the Nintendo Entertainment System outselling it by a margin of 6-1, the Master System still had a wide selection of memorable games. I'm talking about the original Phantasy Star, Alex Kidd and Shinobi World, Space Harrier 3D, and even solid ports of arcade hits like Strider and Altered Beast. In total, there were 120 Master System games released in North America between 1986 and 1991. Electronic Gaming Monthly reviewed 20 of them. Okay, so that's not very many, but considering that EGM launched halfway through 1989, I think it's fair to say that they clearly missed out on a majority of Sega's 8-bit releases. Now, that's a shame, but it's not going to stop me from using the 30-year-old reviews to count down Electronic Gaming Monthly's top 20 Sega Master System games. Now, there are no limits.
Sega challenges you with the ultimate video game, the Sega Master System.
Hang on!
With more accurate control, more detailed graphics, more levels of play.
Awesome!
The Sega Master System comes with power-based 2 control pads, light phaser, and 2 great video games, Hang On and Safari Hunt.
Gotcha!
And with other games like Rambo, Outrun, and Choplifter, the excitement never stops. The Sega Master System. The challenge will always be there.
Up first, at number 20, Dynamite Dux. This is a game that Sega should have forgotten about. It's a stupid concept, the characters are lame, and the gameplay is too simple. If you're old enough to read this review, then you're too old to play this game. Number 19, Cloudmaster. There's not a lot of substance to this bland shooting game that has few power-up alternatives and not a lot of variety. Action-filled backgrounds that are highly repetitive make it difficult to stay interested for long. A dull game that, because of its difficulty, becomes more frustrating than enjoyable. Number 18, Scramble Spirits. Another game from Sega which is too easy for the average player. The graphics are very good, with attention paid to the detail in the enemy planes and battleships. The vertical scrolling is good, but the game is just too easy to appreciate what the game has to offer. Number 17, Captain Silver. An easy game for younger players. Nicely animated action that is not too difficult. Definitely not for a serious game player. With average graphics, simple sounds, and rudimentary play, Captain Silver is great for beginners, but won't present much of a challenge for anybody else. Number 16, Joe Montana Football. Sure, it's 8-bit, but that's no excuse for this game. The graphics are very disappointing and the gameplay is way too slow. There's very little in terms of excitement or challenge here. The computer doesn't seem to think, and 2-player games aren't enough to keep me invested. Number 15, Super Monaco GP. This is a poor excuse of a driving game. If the Master System is supposed to be superior to the Nintendo Entertainment System, then this game certainly doesn't show it. The game is too straightforward and comes off looking like a poor NES title. Keep the car in the garage. Number 14, E-SWAT. E-SPLAT should have been the real name of this Master System version of the Great Coin-Op. Why do so many games disguise themselves as arcade games? Somebody should check them at the door for their proper ID. Number 13, Columns. Columns is a great game on the Genesis and in the arcades, but the Master System version is lacking in graphics and gameplay. The gems are way too small, and the colors seem to blur together, making it difficult to play. Not bad, but not great. Number 12, Galaxy Force. Activision's Afterburner with better graphics, but not as many levels. The backgrounds, especially over the fire world and when you're fighting the last boss, are extremely cool. If it had more rounds, it would have been better. But as it is now, Galaxy Force is pretty good for a shooter. Number 11, Dead Angle. Sega's best shot, no pun intended, at a decent game this season. Don't look for anything spectacular, though. It's Gangster Town without the light gun, and with an auto-fire stick, anyone will finish this one in a day. Although the graphics are great, it's not enough to blow you away.
Sega's already brought you more than 100 super tough games straight off the streets, like Indiana Jones, Operation Wolf, Ultima 4, Paperboy, and Super Monaco Grand Prix. The better you get, the tougher they get. And now we've brought you a super radical system to play them on. The Sega Master System 2 comes with control pad and a built-in game. Alex Kidd in Miracle World. The Sega Master System 2, radically serious fun.
We're back with number 10, King's Quest: Quest for the Crown. King's Quest is a pretty good all-around game. The quest portion of play is challenging enough to keep you occupied, and the overall control sequences add some depth to the otherwise straightforward adventure title. This one won't appeal to the shoot-'em-up fans, but it will make you think. Number 9, Rastan. Rastan has a pretty standard theme that's not expanded much here. The graphics and play are good, but there's some flicker in certain areas that's a bit of a distraction. It's the best action game available for Sega. Number 8, Spellcaster. Spellcaster is a disappointment. The name implies a role-playing game, and it isn't. It definitely is not a Phantasy Star sequel. Except for a pyramid maze, Spellcaster is just a straightforward adventure with great graphics and a long quest. This cart will have to do, however, until Ultima 4. Number 7, Alex Kidd High Tech World. I'm not overly impressed with Alex Kidd and High Tech World. I loved the first Alex Kidd game and felt that the second was too much of a kiddie game. The third try at Alex Kidd doesn't have enough action, and the action scenes and whole quest is slow and tedious. Not much fun. Number 6, Reggie Jackson Baseball. A decent baseball game with some nice features that aren't always useful, like having the ability to have the outfielders jump. Lots of good looks, but not overly exciting to play. Number 5, Ultima 4 Quest of the Avatar. Ultima 4 fits the niche for players who've been waiting for a new RPG. While this game offers little in terms of intense action, the puzzles and sheer size of the play environment guarantees a lot of exploring. The character generation is well done, and the battery backup is a welcome necessity. Number 4, Psycho Fox. There's no doubt that this game was inspired by Super Mario-style games, but Psycho Fox has a few advances over the original Super Mario Adventure. Nowhere near as good as Mario 3, but a nice little action-filled change of pace for Sega. Number 3, Ghouls N Ghosts. Sega is starting to breathe more life into the 8-bit. Many of the older titles were only mediocre at best, but Ghouls N Ghosts turns that around real fast. For a 2 meg game, the product is spectacular. All the levels are there, as is most of the action. The bosses are done well, and Loki is exceptional. Number 2, Golden Axe. This is definitely one of the best Sega 8-bit titles to ever appear. The gameplay, although unfair at times by not giving you a chance to defend certain attacks, is ported from the arcades with little loss to the attraction of the theme. One of the best arcade titles to ever appear on the Master System. And finally, number 1, Land of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. Excellent! And who thought the Sega Master System was dead? Anyone with any decency should get this game. The graphics are marvelous, the music is stupendous, the control is amazing. This game is almost every bit as good as the Genesis version. Enough said.
Okay, the game is Shinobi. Your basic fist and stomach, foot and face arcade hit. 19 stages of major ninja warfare. Observe. You got your throwing stars, your bombs, your nunchucks. Nice shot. If you live through this round, you get ninja magic. Hey, you can be next. Hey, I can't see.
Shinobi, just one of 70 games from Sega. Games and accessories sold separately. And coming this Christmas, 2-player Double Dragon. Sega, major fun and games.
Wait till they see Double Dragon.
Hey, thanks for watching us counting down EGM's best and worst Sega Master System games. This is something that I actually want to do more of, going through a bunch of the systems from the 80s and 90s. There are a lot of consoles that only had a few dozen reviews, so I thought it might be fun to dig through those for a while. Look for similar videos covering the Sega 32X, Sega CD, Jaguar, Lynx, and a whole lot more. Let me know what system you want to see next. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is your favorite Sega Master System game? Unfortunately, EGM failed to review most of the big hitters, so I'm not real sure this was a fair representation of how good the system actually was. Nevertheless, let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back later this week with more reviews and maybe even a frequently asked questions segment. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.